Welcome into a live edition of the KC Laboratory presented by Emprise Bank member FDIC, our amazing partners in Possible here at KC Sports Network. Man, right off the rip, William Shalley 484 asking, is today a matter day? Good news. Why, yes, it is. Mondays are matter days here on the KC Laboratory. Matt Swanson here with Matt Hamilton, looking extra dapper today, and Maddie Lane, who's wearing the shirt that I came very close to putting on before joining this show tonight. Maddie Lane, how are we today on this Monday, sir?
We're doing okay. The bye week's always a weird time of year, as a Chiefs fan. So we spent this week watching a lot of college ball, watching a lot of prospects again. It was time to get that little bit of the itch going, start looking at the draft a little bit. Kent has put his foot down that we can't do an entire draft show, but we might have a fun little sprinkle here and at the back end of this. So that put a smile on my face.
Pause, real quick. When I said in the DMs that the boss man said no.
You said no. I got it. I heard loud and clear. I don't think it's okay that you call yourself the boss man like that. However, I understand the power grab.
Okay. Just want to make clear. Hamilton, why are you looking so dapper today? Please explain yourself.
I mean, I guess just because I'm not coming off the practice field for once, because our season is over. I guess that explains it.
You do whatever you want. You dress as nice as you want to. Please feel free. Don't feel like this is a judgment zone where you can't dress up.
Look, I'm not judging. I am just like, look at us slobs, and then there's you.
Whoa, chill out.
Yeah,
what
I don't
is
know.
wrong with you right now?
That is a great T-shirt. I don't know what you're talking about.
Speak for yourself, said Maddie.
It's a
Because
phenomenal
you have a
shirt.
2011 Adidas hoodie doesn't mean that the rest of us are slobs.
I am telling you, I promise you, this is at least 6 years old. I think I've been doing content in this hoodie for years. But man, we appreciate everybody hanging out with us tonight, man. I'm excited to hang out with these two. Obviously, with a bye week, things are kind of, a little different than the usual. And honestly, I kind of like that. I like having, things be mixed up a little bit. We're not looking back at a game that happened for the Chiefs. We will look at the rest of the AFC here in a little bit because it's worth talking about. A little out of an ordinary Monday episode. I'm actually quite excited about it. And we'll start with this. There was some news, or should I say no news, which seems to be a lot of what the insiders are giving us is just not real news, but news that either just might have happened. Hey, by the way, there's an injured player going up for MRI today, just so you know. Okay, thanks for that. But that wasn't the news. This is Adam Schefter on November 9th. That is Sunday. A little bit before kickoff, a few hours before kickoff, getting this circulated. A near deal from Adam Schefter. At Tuesday's NFL deadline, the Chiefs made a late, strong push to acquire Seahawks linebacker Boye Mafe, per sources. Some thought the deal would get done. One source even thought it was completed. But right before the deadline, Seattle opted to hold on to Mafe. So, a lot of thoughts there. I mean, the Chiefs clearly interested in looking at the edge rusher position, the closeness of the deal, the fit for the Chiefs. A lot of interesting things here. Hamilton, when you saw this news, what were your thoughts?
I mean, I thought that would have been a great player to add to this defense. We've talked about it for years now, how they need to add to this edge group. I thought he would have fit in very well. That's a move I would have liked to see them make. Obviously, a lot of talk about the Brees move and should they have given up that third round pick. I personally would have done that as well. Especially when you look at, again, not that you can totally go off this, but the history of the Chiefs' third round picks. Like, are you getting a player the quality of Brees and what he can bring to this offense this year? But no, Boye would have given them an explosive presence off the edge and, really helped the depth of that pass rushing group.
Yeah, you got to wonder, was this a little bit of a, hey, we didn't get Brees Hall, so here we tried to trade for somebody else, but it didn't work. Aw, shucks. Here you go, Schefter. Put this for me, please. Because I mean, you just always have to wonder that a little bit, because it did come out at a not weird timing, but I think Pelissaro or Fowler also had some other trades that almost happened. Like we started hearing about Jalen Waddle and the Bills
Yeah.
and stuff. So it wasn't like the Chiefs move was the only move, right? So it came out at the
Yeah.
same time as a lot of other potential moves, but it almost kind of feels like, hey, I know you guys are upset that we didn't make this one move that, again, for half a year of a running back, I'm okay with that using the third round. I will stand there and say I'm okay with it. I understand the process and not doing a third round pick there, but we know some of you were upset. So look at what we tried to do. Pay attention to the shiny thing over here on the side, right? I can see the argument for that. At the same time, though, I think that it makes sense for the Chiefs. They obviously know they need some pass rush help. I think you can kind of reading between the lines of what Andy's talked about post game. Like they're not getting a lot of pressure. They're not impacting opposing quarterbacks very often. I think that is something they are working to try to fix. So, hey, like it would have made sense to try to get that move. At the time, Mafe had 0 sacks on the year. He's fallen to like 4th in the rotation of edge rushers for Seattle. So he might have been a little bit more available than I think a lot of Chiefs fans would have thought. And if that's the case, then it makes sense for them to attempt to go after him if they could have.
I'm curious what the compensation would have looked like for Boye Mafe, right? Like we know the Chiefs were pretty hard and fast on a 4th round pick for Brees Hall. I'm curious what the compensation might have looked like for Boye Mafe. I don't know if it would have been all the way to that 4th. Again, because like you're looking, I don't think that's justifying. I don't think that's just necessarily justifying, the half year rental on him. And maybe it's something similar to what they did with Trent. I know, hey, I'm gonna say it, Josh Uche, right? Like a future 6th, 7th round pick, something like that.
Probably more than that, though. He's better than Josh Uche.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, probably. Maybe it's a future 5th. Maybe it's a 2027 5th or something like that.
Yeah.
That would have been 1 round up from. Yeah, it would have been 1 round up from what they gave up for Uche last go round. So, yeah, I don't know. I thought it was kind of interesting. I don't know. I did think like, hey, maybe that was a little bit of a leak to say, hey guys, we tried to do some things, right? We looked at some things. What Boye Mafe? I should have looked this up before the show. Boye Mafe's contract. He's
in his last final year. He's in his final year right now.
Yeah, I know that. I was just trying to see what he was due for the remainder of the season.
2nd round pick. So,
I mean, it's gonna be okay. Yeah, I mean, they could have fit underneath. It would have been less than $1 million.
And I will say that I will say this too. Like, while I would have liked Veach to do something, and I probably would have gotten more aggressive and pulled the trigger on Brees. I understand the argument for not doing it, and the vitriol directed at him that I've seen, and I know it's not everybody, but I've seen a lot of it, is absolutely insane.
Insane.
For the guy who constructed Super Bowl roster after Super Bowl roster. Obviously, he has a long-term plan in mind. And again, while I personally would have been a little more aggressive, I totally understand not doing it. And I think if anyone has earned the benefit of the doubt in the entire National Football League, it's probably Brett Veach.
You go. I have something, Maddie. I'm going to cape for Veach after you're done.
Oh, mine's nothing to do with Veach, so go ahead. I'll take us a slightly different direction.
I don't understand why people are so like. I think the high wire act that this team has to navigate year in year out to be competitive is just it's so crazy, and I think he deserves a ton of credit for what he's done to this point. And like, let's look. Okay, yeah, he didn't give up a top 100 pick for a top 100 pick for Brees Hall. Okay. Noel Williams looks pretty good. I think 4 years of Noel Williams is pretty good. And I know like there's some misses in recent memory too, but like even like 4 years of Colin Saunders, probably still worth it. 4 years of Derek Notty on his rookie contract, also probably worth it. So I get really irritated with some of that because I don't discredit him for doing it. I wouldn't have been despondent if he had, but I don't get why we are so quick to just be so harsh on Brett Veach. I think he's done a pretty good job. Not a perfect job.
Yeah.
I think he's done a good job. He's one of the best GMs in football. What did you have, Maddie?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I generally agree. Being a mad over Brett Veach over this isn't great. I'm not. I did say before going into this last offseason, I thought they were at like a pivot point. They had to decide to start preparing to build for the future or not, and they kind of straddled that line and tried to run it back with some aging guys a little bit. And I think that's going to delay overturning a lot of the or not a lot of the roster, but like that's going to delay changing the roster top to bottom a little bit. But it is what it is. He's done a pretty good job for what they're dealing with. Now I want to go a different direction. Let's say this is real, right? Like we're gonna take a little bit of a leap and say they really were trying to bring in Boye Mafe, and that would make 3 years in a row that the Chiefs have tried to use draft capital to acquire a not necessarily lighter in this case, but a more pass rush first centric speed rusher from Felix Anudike-Uzomah into Josh Uche, and then now Boye Mafe. That's 3 years in a row where they have tried to add somebody that's a little bit out of Steve Spagnuolo's typical wheelhouse in terms of being a thick, strong run defender. So I'm just curious as to, if we think we see something like that, if that is a trend that is happening or what's going on.
I will also add, I don't know, like, look, I get wanting to make the pass rush better. I think Boye Mafe makes it better, but to think that it's just going to be like an astronomical difference in what this team is going to be able to do from a pass rush perspective, it's still just another complimentary player. Like that's all it is, right? And I don't know. I think you got to find. I mean, it's hard to integrate. It's hard to integrate a player in the middle of the season. I'm not saying don't take swings and don't try. I think there's context with all of this, right? And I think it gets missed sometimes. And I don't know. Like Boye Mafe would have been a nice help, but it's not like he's going to completely change the direction of that defensive line. He's just a nice additional piece and an additional swing that can potentially help you disrupt. Hamilton, did you have anything else on that?
No, I think everything about Boye Mafe that can be said has been said so far. So
okay, that was a lot of talk about Boye Mafe.
It's a lot of Mafe talk.
He will not be making an appearance at Arrowhead, but I'm calling all Chiefs fans. You could be on the field at the 50 inside GEHA Field for the official coin toss of the Chiefs home game this season. Visit Chiefs.com/GEHA now and enter to win a chance to be on the field for a once-in-a-lifetime view of the pregame coin toss. Plus, you can score other exclusive prizes. Enter for a chance to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to take a break. We're going to hear some stuff from Andy Reid, what he had to say right after this.
My name is Terrell Jolly. A lot of people call me TJ, founder and CEO of Integrity Capital Management. So Integrity Capital Management originally started out as a property management firm, but we slowly transitioned to what is described as an incremental development firm that's focused on situational housing. I know most people say affordable, but we believe in creating housing for people that are actually in need and built to the end user. I believe everyone needs a home because when you have home, you have hope. The reality is that when you're building a business, one thing you don't think about is like what a true banking relationship means. And, I had the honor and privilege of meeting Debbie early on in my career when I was just trying to get going. And as a small business, it's really challenging at times because people don't understand the concept or not believe the longevity because you're just getting started. But Debbie was willing to take a chance on me, be patient with me. I almost look at it like a grassroots initiative. She's seen and believe what I'm about. Anybody that's really true about their business and want to get some things done, I would definitely trust hands down Emprise because Deb's team, along with Aaron and Jackie and all the amazing people that work behind the scenes, even from the treasury side, I would say, hey, give them an opportunity because you won't be disappointed and you will actually be in hands that actually somebody care and that will see you from start to finish.
Thanks, everyone, hanging out with us on a matter day. And boy, it is great to be with these gentlemen today. We got to hear some updates from Andy Reid on a few things.
Big
just
updates.
coming out of the bye week.
Huge.
Hey, I mean, Depending on who you are, right? I think the story about the left tackle situation has been prevailing for the last month. It's been in the top of minds of a lot of Chiefs fans. Andy Reid addresses Josh Simmons and his return to the lineup. Check this out.
We know we've got a good player in there now, and we know what Josh is capable of and all that. So we'll just see where we're at when when they get back.
We'll just see. That is typically not the kind of thing that you like to hear from an Andy Reid quote. We'll see normally if someone's questionable and Andy Reid says we'll see, kind of feels like more often than not that player's not playing that week. And so if you're applying similar logic and the way that Andy Reid hypes up Jalen Moore from Jump Street in that quote, Hamilton kind of makes me feel like we're going to see Jalen Moore this week against the Denver Broncos in perhaps the biggest game of their entire season.
It is starting to feel that way. Although I will say too, I think this is the approach you want to take as a head coach here. With Josh Simmons missing all of that time, do you want to put more on him and say like 100%, he's coming back? That's a lot of football to miss for anybody, but especially for a rookie in the middle of the season. I know the last game from Jalen Moore didn't leave a great taste in everybody's mouth, and the Broncos pass rush is ridiculous. But I think taking a cautious approach here is probably a smart idea, and you want to make sure Josh Simmons is 100% ready mentally, physically to get back on the field and play at a high level. Because what you've gotten out of Jalen Moore, again, you can't just look at the last game, you have to look at the whole body of work. What you've gotten has been pretty solid. So I think if Josh Simmons is going to be back out there, he has to be 100% ready to go.
Yeah, I think there's a couple different things that play here, right? First, there is the person that is Josh Simmons' element of this, and that we don't still really know for certain what caused the missing of time, right? And I'm not here to speculate on that. I'm just saying, like, he's back now. We don't know what he missed time for. We don't know if he's in the spot where you need to thrust him immediately into you are now the starter again, right? Like if this is something that has any chance to be something more to do with his personal emotional, I'm not saying it is, but like has anything to do with his state of mind or physical ability to go out there and play, you don't want to immediately say, okay, go prepare back out there like you never missed any time. So I understand like and easing it in from that aspect without knowing what he was gone for certain, but also more than that, going back like to the team side, I don't know, this kind of, to me, this felt more like just Andy doing typical Andy stuff. This is a head coach that typically has full control. He's always going to support all of his players. He is never going to put any of his players down. And by saying Jalen Moore's doing a good job and we'll see, he's essentially just like saying like, hey, Josh Simmons has to come back, look like he's ready to go and be what we think is the best option again, or he's not going to play. So I almost saw it more as just like as quietly saying, hey, he's just got to go practice and earn his job back. Not so much saying that like, we don't think he's going to. It's just, this is probably the nicest way you can say Simmons is back. He looks like he did beforehand when he said, we've seen what he can do before, right? Like if he looks like he did before he took off, then he's going to be the starter, but I'm not going to tell you that Jalen Moore isn't doing good because I don't want to put down anybody on my team. So it felt more Andyism to me than anything else.
I think if I were to guess, I think Jalen Moore is playing this week against the Denver Broncos. And candidly, I think it's a tough matchup to try to throw, Josh Simmons in right after being gone for an extended period of time. And you're right. Football shape is one thing. Going into altitude for football shape is another thing. And being removed so far from it and with some of the, what's been going on, like you don't know, we don't know, but yeah, I think it at least brings question on whether or not he's going to be ready for this one. So I think Jalen Moore is playing this week against the Denver Broncos.
Well, I'll take Simmons.
Okay.
I'm actually a little surprised. I'm a little surprised. I actually I felt very comfortable. This was just like hey, we're just not going to say Jalen Moore isn't starting anymore. I did not actually take that at all as Jalen Moore was going to start. So now interesting.
I think Jalen Moore is playing this week.
Be vastly disappointed if the Chiefs' first-round pick, who's clearly a better left tackle, is back and is not playing over Jalen Moore versus the best pass rush that they've seen, especially after how the last couple weeks have gone. I get what you're saying. Like, I get the rationale on how we get there. Just, I'd be a little disappointed in that.
Yeah, there's got to be disappointment if it doesn't have for sure. But I think, as you said, there is so much that we don't know, and
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
hedging is the smart move from Andy here.
Mhm.
You know,
The context of the whole situation, I think, kind of just throws a wrench into all of this as far as like moving forward. It
yeah,
kind of felt more like the support for the existing guy. Man, he's good. This guy's good, kind of thing. That's kind of the vibes I was getting. The vibes have not been great for the Xavier Worthy trade, right? Maddie Lane let some intrusive thoughts. Oh wait, we're not talking about intrusive thoughts anymore. We don't let them. We don't even let them
It's fake.
permeate, let them sit. That didn't happen. That whole segment didn't happen at all. So any concerns about Xavier Worthy and his development over the course of the season from year 1 to year 2? Nothing of concern. And it doesn't sound like Andy Reid saw that concerned either.
Well, we try to get them all involved the best we can. Some games you're just going to have that where they're taking somebody away, and that's how it goes. That's happened. How the coverage goes. That's how the play call goes. So on. Um, so but we're not down on Xavier Worthy. We know he's a good player, and we like to get the ball in the good players' hands. The best way we can. Um, so it just hasn't rolled that way.
Maddie Lane, I'm going to throw to you on this one first.
Ooh.
How'd you feel? Listen to
Not
that.
great. Not great. Listen, I get what he's saying. There are certain times where you absolutely cannot get certain players involved because other teams scheme to take them away. I don't think Xavier Worthy is being schemed to be taken away. And I don't think it's great if you are having this much trouble getting a player taken away that you can't find ways to still get him over, like, more useful in the game, right? Like, there's no Rashee Rice has never been taken out of games, quote unquote, in the same way that it feels like Worthy has, right? Like, so it's not a great sign that you're a year and a half into it now, and they are having to still figure out how to best utilize him. And if teams, again, I don't agree with being taken away. If teams just aren't letting him be wide open, they can't find ways to do it. That's not great. Now, maybe some of that does fall on Worthy for not taking some of the steps like we've talked about and being injured. Shoulder injury, ankle injury.
Yeah.
I want to be clear. I don't know how that's impacting him. I just haven't seen a guy take a jump in terms of his route running. He is still very finesse at the line of scrimmage and not very, he's not great off the line of scrimmage. He's a little too finesse. He gives up too much ground, kind of like McCole Hardman did when he's trying to beat guys off the line of scrimmage, right? And so I think some of it falls on him. I also think the Chiefs are still trying to use his speed as a vertical weapon. And I don't know if that's in the cards for him, at least right now. They need to go take a page out of old Dan Campbell's book and see how they're using Jamison Williams. I think that's the type of speed receiver Worthy might be, which is not just go balls down the sideline. Like, that's not how they activated Jamison Williams last year when he kind of had this really big breakout year. So little bit of falls on the coaching staff, a little bit falls on Worthy, but those words were not very reassuring to me.
No, not at all. And yeah, it's the notion that teams are taking him away is nonsense. I really do think, Maddie, you hit it on the head completely. I think a little bit you got to be worried about the health. Nobody's brought that up in the equation, but you do wonder how healthy he is right now, how close to 100% he is right now, because we know he's not 100%, but how close is he? How far away from that is he? And the usage thing is a factor here too. It's all either completely horizontal or completely vertical, and nothing in between. It feels like. And you're right, Jameson Williams is the perfect example of how to unleash somebody with that type of speed in a more, dare I say, more creative way than just we're gonna throw you bubble screens, you know, jet and throw verticals to you. So I think there's a path there for this to be a lot better. I'm not out on Worthy in any way, shape, or form. I think maybe, if the health is a lingering thing, might be a little bit of a rocky year, but we saw a lot of signs of growth from him, I think, at the end of last year, which is also what makes me feel like the health is the factor here. But yeah, I think there are more creative ways they need to get him involved here going forward too.
Still better than Keon Coleman.
It's getting pretty close, buddy.
No, it's not.
We're sweating. We're sweating that one right now. Let me tell you what. We are sweating that one.
I'm not. Not at all.
Don't look
Oh,
at their stats.
Not even a little bit. All right, one more Andy Reid quote. Talking about, hey, Elijah Mitchell didn't play. Clyde Edwards-Helaire did. What's up with that, Andy?
Yeah, so we really like Elijah, obviously, or he wouldn't be here, but I think that makes a big statement there. But Clyde is, he knows all the protections, he knows all that. Not only does he know, but he's done it. And so we've seen him do it. So there was a comfort there. Not that Elijah doesn't. He's a very sharp kid. So, but we just, we've seen, our guy do it.
Our guy, Elijah Mitchell, is your guy. He's on the active. He's on the active roster.
He didn't know how to end that sentence.
Yeah, I don't know if he knew where to start it.
Yeah,
he's like, yeah, Clyde knows the protections. Oh, Elijah does. Sorry. Like, I don't know what to do with that. Hamilton, I guess this turned into coach speak index. Where does that one fall for you?
it falls. Something must be very wrong with Elijah Mitchell behind the scenes, or they just don't like him. I don't know, but there's no way to read this other than that they just don't believe in Elijah Mitchell, and they don't believe that he can go out there and get the job done, which is really, disappointing, because you spent some money on him. You brought him in here as a guy that, could give you some juice in this backfield, and we saw it in San Francisco. Over an extended period of time, he's a capable runner. He's a guy that could give you something, and I don't know. Again, I don't want to assign blame. We don't know if he's just not picking up the offense at all, and it's on him, or just the coaching staff being stubborn and going with things that they trust. I don't know, but the bottom line is the same, which is that I don't think he's seeing the field anytime soon.
Yeah. That felt like, hey, Brett really likes this guy, so he's on the team, but we're going to use our guy, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, our guy. I can't defend it, right? Like, I got nothing for it. I quit taking up a 53-man roster spot. If you're going to sign Clyde back to your practice squad off the scrap heap because nobody else wanted him, and then not activate Elijah Mitchell, just like use that roster spot for anything else. But if I were to try to connect some dots here, Isaiah Pacheco's out. You're going in with just Mr. Kareem Hunt and a 7th-round rookie running back learning to play running back in Brashard Smith. God forbid Mr. Kareem Hunt gets hurt again. You probably want the guy that you feel the most comfortable with splitting time with that 7th-round rookie. I guess I could understand wanting that to be Edwards-Helaire over Elijah Mitchell because of the comfort level. But then that brings me back to the point, why is he on your roster if you're not going to feel comfortable after 2 running back injuries to play him? So you actually don't really have anything for this. They'd rather play Rashee Rice at running back than Elijah Mitchell.
You ready for an intrusive thought? Part 2.
It's not the segment. Wrong
Week
day.
2. That doesn't matter. We're gonna throw this. I don't like this.
Bossman Swanson.
I don't like this at all. I'm kill the messenger for crying out loud. All right, here's an intrusive thought.
Should we salute you going forward? Like, how would you like to be
stand up from now on every time we come back from break?
I don't want to be around anymore. Here's my intrusive thought. What if Elijah Mitchell, they're letting him get healthy, they're removing, like, letting him just kind of have the first half of the season knowing he's had the injury history, and he actually is going to get an opportunity sometime in the second half of the season, and he's going to provide some juice to the running back room. That's an intrusive thought. You don't have to believe it.
They're not going to play him until the playoffs, and he's going to turn into 1997 Terrell Davis.
I'm not saying the playoffs. Just give him like 3 more weeks, and all of a sudden, like, here comes Elijah Mitchell, just fresh legs, just running wild on the rest of the AFC. We did get this. Get a super chat from Jason R. Very generous, Jason. Thank you.
Jason, shout out.
What are you most looking forward to, want to see in the second half of the season? Spags defense becoming dominant, or the offensive line becoming the best unit in the NFL? One of those two. Spags defense becoming dominant, or the best offensive line in football. Hamilton, which one are you picking?
Oh, that's a tough call because that offensive line is the best in the NFL. This offense is putting up 50 points a game, and it doesn't matter what the defense looks like. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to go with the offensive line because I think if this offensive line truly is that dominant, nobody's stopping this offense.
Maddie?
Yeah, I'm going to go offensive line as well. The best in the NFL is a little bit, that's a long way to go from where they've been, but it's not impossible, right? Kingsley's played better. Juwan Taylor, when he's healthy, we've seen him really turn up and have really good stretches. I think Josh Simmons was improving every week. It's like that's squarely, it's a possibility, even if a long shot. I really don't know if I see where this defense goes to dominant from where they're at. I just don't see the pass rush juice. I don't see where that changes. And there's enough, not holes, but like iffy parts of the secondary and the second level in terms of coverage. Like I just don't know how the defense gets there. Whereas I can squint and see the offensive line get there. And if the offensive line gets there, like Hamilton said, I don't see how you stop this offense if there is full trust in that offensive line again. I think we were getting there before this past month, and it was kind of starting. We were seeing glimpses of where this offense could go. And so I think getting back to that will go a long way and be very exciting for the second half.
Look, I'm going to sweep it. Like, yeah, I actually think there's a path to the offensive line being one of the best in football very easily, and that's Josh Simmons returning. And I'll just say this. I think Elijah Mitchell will run crazy through the rest of this league. if the Chiefs wind up having the best offensive line in football, man, Elijah Mitchell, man. You just watch, guys. Go pick him up in fantasy now. There it is. There's my intrusive thought. Go pick him up right now. All right. Look, we got to see a lot of things happen. What?
We have another super chat.
Okay.
Bumpa. If the Chiefs miss the playoffs with a healthy Mahomes, who is fired? Thank you, Bumpa, for the support. Now, Hamilton, to you. Fire somebody. All right, hold on, Hamilton. Actually, hold on, Hamilton. Hold on. We should let the boss man do this. Go and fire somebody.
That's why you get that chair and that title.
If let's let go Dave Tobe.
Watch your ass, Dave Tobe. Boss man said so. What about you, Hamilton? Who are you sending out the door?
Matt Nagy.
Well, just push him to Tennessee.
Yeah. Sounds like, I mean, there's a lot of
packed.
We're getting a lot of Spags to Giants momentum. How you guys feel about that? But
I hate it. Stay away, please. He's ours.
Giants fans would say he was theirs first, but yeah.
Well.
Ooh.
They should have kept him when they named him the interim coach instead of hiring Pat Shurmur. That was a great hire. But yeah.
Spags getting to coach Scatabo would be so fun. It would have been.
And here's what the real answer: no one's getting fired if the Chiefs miss the playoffs one time. Andy is not. He's not even remotely considering firing a soul. Now, if Mike Kafka is out there and available, he probably is welcome back in some kind of advisory role until if something opens up. But I'm not even against that. For to be very clear, I would welcome Mike Kafka back happily. But Andy's not going to fire anybody. Like there's just no chance he's firing somebody. So
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there would be a ton of moves. I think you guys would be surprised. I could see them retooling the team. So maybe if you want to talk about players getting fired, I guess, like I think you could see them reshuffling and retooling the team a little bit and reshuffling the defensive line. I could see them blowing some things up and trying to kind of retool some things, but I don't think it would wind up on coaches or the executive staff. I really don't think that they would do that. All right, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to talk about the state of the AFC right after this.
Hey, NFL fans, what's your favorite touchdown? For me, it's the next one. And that's because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. First touchdown scores to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. And here's the best part. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. So your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. You download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use code KCSN. That's code KCSN for new customers to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. Pass-through of per wager tax may apply in Illinois. Must be 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. The bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, visit dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
It's not funny, guys. We are sitting here, week 10, Chiefs out of the bye week, home stretch, Thanksgiving's in a couple of weeks. And if the season ended today, the Kansas City Chiefs would not be in the playoffs. The AFC is insane right now. Just absolutely bonkers. Baltimore Ravens also would not be in the playoffs as it stood today. Right now, the Indianapolis Colts are in pole position for the 1 seed in the AFC, followed by the Denver Broncos, then the New England Patriots, then the Pittsburgh Steelers. Those are your 4 divisional winners. The wild card teams are the Los Angeles Chargers, the Buffalo Bills, and somehow the Jacksonville Jaguars. That is your 7 teams in the AFC playoff picture right now. Wild to see. And I don't know how many of these teams are actually good. Hamilton, do you buy? Are you believing in any of these teams right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm buying the Colts as a good football team. Absolutely. I know they had that awful performance against the Steelers, but outside of that, they've been really consistently pretty damn good all year. And I think they're going to continue to get better on the defensive side of the ball as things settle down there with Sauce and he gets acclimated and DeForest Buckner gets back healthy. Yeah, I'm definitely buying the Colts. The Broncos defense is incredible. I'm not sure what to make of the other side of the ball right now and why they can't get any offense going consistently. Um, Drake May is playing phenomenally, and that defense in New England is really good too. Like they're a legitimate threat. I don't think they're a juggernaut. They're not typically what you would expect an 8-2 team to look like. I think that a little bit of that is a product of the schedule. But yeah, I think all 3 of those teams are tough teams. None of them really scare me if I'm the Chiefs and we see them get rolling. I think that Jaguars loss was blowing that lead was huge for Kansas City because we're faced with the reality with as long as the Broncos keep winning, like it might have to be a wild card spot this year. I'm not writing off the division by any means, but now you have another wide open path to get in. Even if the Chiefs happen to drop this Broncos game, the Jaguars giving away that game really opened up another clear path for the Chiefs to get in so that this Broncos game isn't completely a must win, although I know it'll feel like the sky's falling if they don't win it.
I don't think there's any great teams in the AFC. I think they all stink. They're all bad teams. They're all bad football teams, including the Chiefs. They're all bad. They all have like these obvious holes that they just don't really fix very well in these off seasons. And we went from the AFC having these superhuman, these amazing quarterbacks who are going to carry any team they want to the Super Bowls. And now we have teams like the Josh Allen-led Bills losing to the Miami Dolphins. And we have the Chiefs losing to the Jags while Trevor Lawrence has a delay game penalty at home and keeps the clock running 3 times and falls down twice on a game-winning touchdown run. And we have the Ravens doing whatever. what the Ravens are, whatever the Ravens are doing. Like it somehow these teams with these great quarterbacks haven't figured it out. And you will just never convince me that I'm going to watch Daniel Jones make a Super Bowl run. It's not happening. It's not going to happen. So the Colts, I think, are the Colts, the Patriots, they are competent football teams this year. I think the Patriots are a year away from being like possibly good. They just got to get a little bit more talent still. The Colts are a very competent football team that can probably beat any other good team. I don't think you can convince me that Daniel Jones is going to win 3 games against good teams in a row in the playoffs. It's Daniel Jones. And like, he's starting to come back down to earth a little bit. That game against the Falcons, the Colts lose that game if 24 other quarterbacks are playing for the Atlanta Falcons and not Michael Penix. They probably lose that game to the Falcons, right? Like that was a bad game by him. So I just think the Colts are a good, competent team, just not great. And the AFC is in shambles right now. And we have the NFC somehow is now the better conference.
I will say, I don't know if I've seen a team with a bigger disparity in their run blocking versus their pass protection as the Indianapolis Colts, because he just got the absolute crap kicked out of him during that game. And on the year, really, they've given up more quick pressures than any offensive line in the league. So while they've done such an incredible job for Jonathan Taylor, the pass pro has not been great there. And I do think that's the one thing that does give me some confidence in him is he's managed some tough situations with the pressure this year, Daniel, that we haven't really seen him do in the past. And again, you see, obviously, we got the visual with him, just like his bloody mouth, which was, symbolic of just how bad that protection was for him. But, the way he was able to bounce back in the fourth quarter and overtime, despite all of that, was, you got to give him his props for that. I'm with you. The Steelers game, seeing that happen, that kind of a melt happen, makes you a little nervous. But overall, it hasn't. I think there's this narrative that just like, oh, he has this great offensive line, he doesn't get touched, that's why it's been. No, he's really been under a lot of pressure back there, and he's risen to the occasion more often than not. So, again, there are hesitations with Daniel, absolutely, and they're all fair, but I like what I've seen. I think there has been a little bit of a step forward from him, and with that running game being this dominant, that this defense continuing to pick it up. I'm not out on the Colts as a contender. I would still, again, if they play in the playoffs tomorrow, like I'm picking the Chiefs, absolutely. But I could see that the Colts, I think they're just so complete. I could see them making a little bit of noise.
You're going to get a chance to pick the Chiefs against the Colts here in a couple of weeks there, Hamilton.
And I will, but
good man.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what happens this next game first.
Yeah.
I laid out that list of teams. If I set the over under on current playoff teams in the AFC actually making the playoffs, over under of 5.5. Again, Colts, Broncos, Patriots, Steelers, Chargers, Bills, Jags, over under 5.5.
I'll take the over. It's going to be 6.
Okay.
The teams that aren't going to make it, the Steelers are done. I can't, and I'll say this, I can't do it anymore. I can't watch Wild Card Weekend with that friggin' team playing and just getting their doors blown off after sneaking in after a miserable season, somehow weaseling their way in just to get blown out. I can't do it. I'd rather watch Davis Mills and the Texans than watch that again. So I'm just gonna will it into the Steelers will miss, the Jaguars will miss. I think we see the Ravens and Chiefs end up getting in, and those are your 7 teams there.
Maddie.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Jags and Steelers are out. I'm sorry, Trevor Lawrence did the same thing that against the Chiefs against another team and like lost 8 billion yards. Never mind. I'm not going to go in on the Jags. That was another pathetic 2-minute attempt by Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, I don't think the Jags or the Steelers make it. I think it's pretty clear that you're going to have 2 other teams jump in. It is probably going to be, the Chiefs and the Ravens seem like the most likely. I could maybe spend something for me that somebody else somewhere gets it. I don't know if the Texans go on some kind of run here. I don't know. But yeah, I'm with Hamilton in lockstep on that one, though.
I think the Ravens are missing.
Have you seen that schedule?
Who's winning that division?
I've seen the next 2.
Who's winning?
I think the Steelers are going to eke it out.
Have you watched them play football?
Yeah.
Are you
I just-
sure?
Yeah. It's not it's more just vibes than it is. It's more
The Chargers
it's more
look
hearts
scary
than head.
on paper because of all the injuries, but they keep winning, right? And like I know they're not playing great teams or anything like all the time, right? But like they are finding ways to win. I think Justin Herbert's playing well. Ladd McConkey is shaking off some early season. I don't know if it was rust or an injury or whatever it was. I think the Chargers have enough juice to hang on to a wild card spot, even with all the offensive line injuries. I think the injuries will stop them from being a competitor for the Super Bowl. Though.
Yeah, and that defense has found it again. They had their issues. They getting Khalil Mack was a big deal. They've been again, the competition hasn't been great the last couple of weeks, but they've looked the way they did last year, and that'll be good enough for them to get in. But yeah, Kent, this Ravens schedule, the next
2
5
weeks.
games: Browns, Jets, Bengals,
Win.
with possibly Burrow back,
Easier win.
Steelers,
Easiest win.
Steelers, then at Bengals. Those are the next
Easier
5
win.
games.
And then Patriots, Packers, Steelers to close it out.
Yeah.
You watching the Packers right now?
I'm just
They're
telling
not a
you,
lock. It's just
vibe.
this is just a
Nah.
complete lack of faith, and there's a complete lack of faith in the Steelers.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, man. It's vibes. It's vibes. Now watch the Bengals come out and beat the Steelers at home.
It's certainly possible. They're going to have the better old quarterback in the matchup. So, like, what are we doing here?
That's a good point. Aaron was so bad last week. So bad.
Because his own offensive tackles keep hitting him.
They couldn't block
And
to save their life.
And at this stage, like he is not hanging in there. He's just not. And if you keep him clean, he still looks great. If he's under any type of pressure at all, it's bad.
Still just
They have
showing
one
everyone
functional
up.
receiver. And it's
Yeah,
DK
and
Metcalf, who's like a good receiver, but like there's only so much DK Metcalf can actually do as well. So like
You
when
need to-
they have to leave 13 personnel, it's a disaster.
I just want good things for Darnell Washington, guys. Okay, I'm sorry.
yeah, well, it's too bad he's attached to the hip to Broderick Jones because Broderick Jones couldn't block you off the edge. So
It's a good point.
And let's trade away, let's trade away George Pickens before the season, and just have nothing else
Culture.
outside of DK Metcalf. Yeah,
Roman
That's where
Wilson,
it's-
baby. Roman
Yeah.
Wilson. Here we go. He's been, whatever. All right, hey, we're middle of the season, and it's halfway through really for the Chiefs. Like the bye kind of comes at a perfect spot. Maddie thought it'd be fun to hand out some midseason awards. I named them the Chiefies. That was a boss man decision, I guess.
it was. We weren't consulted. That was just put on paper, and this is it.
My bad.
Yeah, the dogs even didn't enjoy it.
That's fine. Maddie, are you giving us all of these, or am I, or what are we doing here?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can just keep it pretty basic with like the ones that the NFL likes to hand out, right? We'll just kind of go down the list. So we can go MVP. We probably don't have to spend a ton of time on this one, but
Cool.
Chiefs MVP at the halfway point.
NFL's MVP. Moving on. Yeah, Hamilton. Anything?
I mean, sorry, I thought you were gonna go.
That was
I
it.
mean, am I allowed to say Patrick Mahomes? I mean, am I allowed to take the loading for because it's Patrick Mahomes
For this
I mean,
one.
Come on,
Yes.
yeah.
I like
we
that
didn't
one.
need to spend much time on that one. Okay, offensive player of the year. This you can no longer use Patrick Mahomes. We're not doing the double quarterback twice. So who is the Chiefs' offensive player of the year? Kent.
Cool.
Boss man.
I'm going to go with Creed Humphrey because of the body of work for the entirety of the course of the season. He's been the best center in football, and he's been outstanding. I think by the end of the year, it might be Rashee Rice with what he's done. It's just been too small of a sample size to hand the award over to him. So I'm going to go with Creed Humphrey for his performance so far this season.
Now, Hamilton, before you answer, just remember that's the boss man over there. I don't know if you want to go against his wishes, but who's your offensive player of the year?
Hate it here.
I'm gonna go with Travis Kelce for the first half of the season. I agree with the boss man that it's Rashee Rice long term, but yeah, I'll go with Travis Kelce. I think we've seen a resurgence out of him. he's, there are a couple drops that stand out to people. I get it, but I think the body of work overall has been much better than what we saw last year, and he's turned into that go-to guy in big situations for Patrick again. And I think he's going to continue to produce down the stretch again because you have Rashid Rice back and Xavier Worthy and all these guys that can take the top off. It's going to allow him to really crush it in the middle of the field again with some of these softer coverages we're going to see.
Yeah, I think you guys took probably the two best ones for the halfway point. Like if we were to predict it out, I could see Rice making a push, but Travis Kelce has been the most like statistically important piece that they have had. And then Creed Humphrey has probably just been flat out the best player. So yeah, I think those are the two right guys right now. Let's move on to the defensive side of the ball. The defensive player of the year so far for the Chiefs. This time we're going to go with Hamilton first.
It's a tough call this year. I think I'm going to have to go with Trent McDuffie still here because I think he has been the one kind of stable, dependable force in that secondary. I don't think he's having necessarily his best year that we've seen, but I think he's still an excellent corner. And he's, when you look at the games that they've had in the secondary that have been dominant, because they have had a few, it's because he's been dominant. So I'll go with Trent McDuffie.
I'm gonna go with Steve Spagnuolo. I think it's Spags. He deserves the nod. No, look, it's Trent. I think the answer is Trent. I think Trent is now the best defensive player on this roster now. I think Chris is still number 2, and I think Chris is still very good. I feel like it feels like the pendulum has swung a little too far on Chris because like he's still good. He's just not the same guy he's been in previous years, and that big step down has created quite the problem for the Chiefs. That's the problem. He's still one of the best defensive tackles in all of football. He's just not clear-cut the best defensive tackle in football anymore, or even one of the top 2, really, when you look at the complete body of work down in, down out. And so I think it's Trent, and there's really no one else. There's no one else. It's Spags. Shout out Spags for everything you've done for this team.
Okay, so I agree with both those to the top 2 guys. Let me go. Let's do this first. I think Trent McDuffie has been the better of the 2. He's been the best player. If we're still going to search, this isn't the MVP either, but if we were to say like defensive MVP, you could almost sell me on a Chris Jones being more important because without him, they have 0 pass rush. Problem is he hasn't been elite as a pass rusher, so they still have 0 pass rush. Whereas at least Trent McDuffie is consistent week in and week out. Even when he's beat, he's in a good spot. It takes really good throws and really good wide receiver play to beat him. And yeah, the short arms still show up sometimes on the outside. Like they do, but he's still having a really good year. And week in and week out, you are going to get an A-level coverage player that's also going to be an impact player in the run game as a force player. So like, I think I would lean McDuffie too at this point in time. The only other person that I think would be worth even considering, and I don't think he should win it, would be Nick Bolton. And there's shortcomings in Nick Bolton's game, but I actually think he's been pretty good versus the run this year. And if we're talking about setting up this Chiefs defense and a Chiefs defense that has at least slowed down a lot of running backs this year until the Bills game, Nick Bolton at least would, be like, hey, he's played well this year. I think he's played a little bit better than he has in the last 2 seasons this year. So I'd give him a little, hey, you're in the outside. You're invited to the Defensive Player of the Year award ceremony. Next, let's go Rookie of the Year for the Chiefs, either side of the ball. Boss man, who you got?
Small sample size, doesn't matter. It's Josh Simmons. I mean, when he's playing, he's been the answer to the Chiefs' left tackle woes and appears to be someone that could solve those tackle woes for the foreseeable future. And I know he hasn't got to play a ton of games this season or hasn't played a ton of games this season, but I still think he is the Rookie of the Year. I think he's potentially the Mac Lee Hill Award winner, which is the name of the rookie award that the Chiefs give out. So there you go.
I'm with you, Ken. I think it's Josh Simmons again, even with the smaller sample size, even with him missing so much time. He looked so good to start this season as a big part of the reason this offense got going when it did. He's a big part of the reasoning, assuming he is going to be back out there at some point soon. I think he's a big part of the reason they're going to be able to open up this passing game and take more shots, continue to take more shots downfield, and do everything, that they were doing when he was in there. So I think he's been critically important to this team. And when he's been out there, it's hard, it's hard not to be really happy with the results when he's been on the field.
Yeah. And the only other person I think in contention would be Noel Williams, just because he has played very well. But you're still a small sample size. He's just been available. They've just been working him in a little bit slower. But I mean, it's easily Josh Simmons. If he is able to come back and play now, if he doesn't play anymore the rest of the year, then we can have a different conversation. Not saying that's even remotely possible. Just that's not. He didn't play enough games to get it season long. But for the halfway point, we can give him the Rookie of the Year. This is my final one. I was going to do Protector of the Year, but that seems silly because I think we'd all just give it to Creed Humphrey. That kind of seems like MVP. That seems pretty straight up. So we're going to go Most Improved Player on either side of the ball. Hamilton, you are up first.
I think it's got to be Kingsley, right? I mean, I know the position change, has a lot to do with it too, but he has been better than I expected, better than I think anybody could have expected, moving into that left guard spot. And, especially given that he's had to play with a different left tackle next to him at points, there's been no drop off. He has just been he's been one of the better left guards in the entire league this year, which is pretty amazing to think about given where he was last year, what the conversations were with him last year. And I think he's found his home.
Broderick Martin.
Can't do that. You got him on another team. You put your foot down as the boss man, and he now plays for another team. I don't think that's a coincidence.
It's Kingsley. That's a tremendous answer. That was a fantastic pull from Matt Hamilton. You're getting raised.
The safety room as a whole. I think Brian Cook's played a lot better this year. I think Brian Cook's actually been pretty darn good this year. Chamari Connor has been better. It's just by simply moving him out of the slot and letting him play safety more often. He's no longer like a problem at all. He's actually a pretty good like downhill box player at safety. And then Jaden Hicks, it's not necessarily an improvement going from a rookie to a second year. You expect a jump, but he's been a little better. Chris Roland Wallace has been fine. Like the safety room isn't perfect, and Kingsley easily deserves to win the award. But I do think just the safety room across the board has actually shown quite a bit of improvement from last year when you consider they lost by far the best guy, the glue guy, and Justin Reid. So I think the safety room gets a little bit of a shout out there. But I don't know if you guys had any other fun awards you wanted to throw out. I think we just wanted to stick to the basics, the tried and true.
I think those were all good, and I think those are all the players that deserve some shout out. Honestly,
there's points in the Monday night game, by the way. Somebody finally scored.
There is.
We did it, guys.
We made it, dude. Frank Beamer's hyped right now. He's just
10:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we have points.
In the boss man's benevolence, and by boss man I do not mean me. We have been graced with an opportunity to do a little bit of draft talk on bye week because you can't keep Matty Lane shut out for an entire year. And last year we did a segment similar to this. It was a lot of fun. We actually gave the floor to Hamilton because Matty and I are a little bit farther down the rabbit hole on some of our draft stuff, right? But Hamilton had some burning questions for the draft last season, and we thought maybe we'll just bring back that for a few questions this week. Maybe not a ton, just a couple burning questions, just to kind of tease the appetite a little bit, whet the appetite a little bit, all that good stuff. So Hamilton, why don't you just throw a couple out there before we get out of here tonight?
And I will say I don't start really digging into the draft till we get to January. I start dabbling, and then once the Super Bowl's over, I really start getting into it. So I'm excited to learn from you guys today. Yeah, I think we did burning questions starting in like February last year. So this is,
it's just a little segment.
It's not a burning question. It's more of like a simmering question.
Yeah, I'm fascinated. I think one of the biggest things that we're looking at with this Chiefs team going into this draft, regardless of what happens here the rest of the way, is going to be interior defensive line. Mm-hmm. I know that's something you guys also love to watch. So I just want to know, interior defensive line, who should I be lasering in on when I start my draft prep?
So I got a fun one from the interior offensive line that's like more of like I think probably a day 2 pick. Caden McDonald, the interior defensive lineman out of Ohio State, like he's a fun fit. He's a bigger guy. He's 326 pounds. He moves well. Like I think there's a little bit of Tyleek Williams, if you remember him from last season, who wound up being a late first round pick from the Detroit Lions. And I think there's some similarities between Caden and I think like make a little bit more pass, like kind of like Tyleek Williams was last season, where good run defender, a little bit of pass rush juice. I think that's how I would kind of define what we've seen out of Caden McDonald. So I think I think he's a guy that, you know, you might see late round 1 potentially for the right fit for the right team, or round 2. He's probably most likely where he goes. So I think I would go like with a Caden McDonald as far as like an interior defensive lineman to kind of help support that group.
I don't think it's a tackle class.
I think there's 2 that I think you would say though, Maddie. Can I guess? Can I write them down real quick before?
Sure. I've always set this up. Yeah, I don't think this defensive tackle class this year is that great. I think there's a couple like nose tackle types that are interesting, and McDonald would have been one of them. Like that's one of the guys, especially early in the year when Ohio State was playing like more real teams, that I was like, oh, he's been pretty impressive. But I mean, if you go past him, you got Amari Washington for Oregon, another big guy that's got a little bit of pass rush juice for a nose tackle, but he's still more of a nose tackle. Dante Corleone of Cincinnati's been in and out of the lineup with some injuries, but same thing. He's a stud for them when he gets able to play. And so he's a lot of fun. That's probably about the end of my guys that I love for the interior defensive line spot. If you get a chance, watch Texas Tech for their entire defense, but I actually like both of their defensive tackles. Lee Hunter's more of a nose tackle. Gil Howard is the more of a 3 tech, and he's been injured, but I think he's supposed to come back soon. So like Texas Tech's got some fun guys in there. That's what I got. Did you get any of those, Kent?
Where's the big citrus love? Where's the Dominic Orange love? You got the 2 best.
You have Big Citrus nickname, but not Corleone's nickname.
I'm sorry.
I'm all in on the. That's the first one I'm watching. Dante Corleone.
Yeah, no, he's really good. He missed a lot of last year with like a real medical concern, not like an injury, but he was back this year. But he's been a little in and out of the lineup. But he's really good when he plays. So he's again bigger guy. Again, a lot more nose tackle types this year. I think so far. It's still pretty early for me on this on defensive line because they weren't that exciting when I was going through quickly.
Am I allowed to ask you guys about the quarterbacks, even though it's not a Chiefs
area?
Oh,
absolutely.
Okay.
They stink. Moving on. I'm kidding.
Who's QB1 in this class?
I think for me right now, I think it's Fernando Mendoza. I'm having a hard time quitting this guy. I love him, man. He is so much fun to watch. I was thinking, like, look, he's got like this is gonna sound like the weirdest combination, but there's like I know you already hate it. There's like it's like Justin Herbert meets Jared Goff. Like there's like just some really crazy high level accuracy that I think you see from Fernando Mendoza, built in a guy with pretty good arm talent and a little bit more ability to throw off platform, but also linear athleticism, right? So it's like a linear athlete like Herbert, big linear athlete like Herbert, with a little bit of like a arm hybrid between Goff and Herbert. It's this weird Frankenstein of a quarterback, but it's working because you got really good ball placement and you got good linear athleticism. It's a weird combination, but I've very much enjoyed watching him play football. I know it's bizarre, but that's like, I had it the other night. I was like, it's weird, but those are 2 things I see in that guy.
I think Mendoza's probably the QB1 of guys that I actually expect to come out. I would agree with that. However, if we just say that everybody that was eligible was coming out right now, give me Dante Moore. I think Mendoza's a little more polished right now. He has more experience. He's more polished. Probably think he's a better quarterback right now. But Dante Moore's kind of got, like, he's got a little bit of that it to him that you just watch him in like in these clutch situations. Not that Mendoza hasn't, but he seems really calm, really collected. He's missing like every wide receiver that's supposed to be good for that team this past week, and he's still going out there with tearing his hamstring and still continuing to run the ball on a 4th down after that. So like I think Dante Moore's just kind of got it, and he needs more time though. He needs more reps. I think that's the big thing. But like if everyone came out and I had the number 1 pick, I'm taking the swing on him over Mendoza as of right now.
I don't think he's coming out, but
he's not.
It doesn't seem like he's coming out. Like by all indications, he's returning. but he would be up there. Like, I mean, he's probably number 2, and it would be a big conversation, I think.
All right, last one for you guys. And
Perfect.
boss man, I'm going to give you an assignment here. I want you to write these down. If there's one guy each of you could say, like, through who you've watched so far, studied so far, this guy's the Kansas City Chief. Who's it going to be?
Ooh,
and I want to revisit this come April.
Ooh, okay. Hold on. Let me think about this one for a second.
Gosh, this takes a little bit of thought because I got to make sure I got to go safe and probably pick a senior just to make sure they come out right. I think there's a little bit of gamesmanship going here. Ooh,
I got mine. You want
I
me to
think I
write it
got
down?
one too.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
I will go with Penn State running back Nick Singleton. So
Okay.
I think Nick Singleton has a lot of the traits that Chiefs covet. Like, he's got some explosive ability as a runner. I think the vision's been a little bit up and down over the last couple of seasons, and that kind of, I think, hasn't got much better. But hey, that hasn't stopped the Chiefs in the past. Singleton's got some home run hitting ability. He's also got some pass protection chops, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield. So I think there's a lot of traits that Nick Singleton has that the Chiefs would like. And I think he probably goes early day 3, which is about where I think the Chiefs start looking at running backs again. So I think fit and where he'll get drafted is Nick Singleton might hurt himself this year. Like, he might have gone earlier if he'd went out last year, by the way. But
sure.
Give me Nick Singleton, day 3 running back for the Kansas City Chiefs.
All right, write this for mine on your paper, Ken, because I'm not writing it down. Give me Oscar Delp, tight end out of Georgia. I'm looking at Kelsey's probably on his way out right now, right? Like, we all assume this is last year. I don't think the Chiefs have found their tight end of the future. So I think they're going to be looking at tight end, but they're not going to go round 1. I wouldn't assume. And I don't think Delp we're not talking a guy that's going to be producing a ton. I don't think he's going to test at like Vernon Davis levels of freak athlete to push himself up into the first round just based on testing. So he's a guy that's going to have this really weird range of 2nd round to 4th round, like some of these other tight ends. But when you watch him play and just see him move in the open field, he has the movement skills that the Chiefs usually gravitate towards for tight ends, right? Like, they have a certain type. You watch Noah Gray, there's a little bit of change of direction. There's a little bit of explosion. You watch Jared Wiley, you watch even Brittingstool a little bit for Clemson, who they signed as an undrafted free agent. They like tight ends that have a certain level of movement out in the open field. And I think Delp checks that box while also being an exceptional blocker that would maybe actually allow them to run the football because they have somebody that can block, because they don't have a tight end on their roster besides Kelsey. And even that's, they can do that right now. So I do that. Give me Oscar Delp, I think, is my early call here as of November 10th.
Hamilton, I have one burning draft question for you. Okay.
Oh boy.
The Chiefs' first round pick, what position is it?
Oh, okay.
Well, you guys don't seem super jazzed about this interior D-line class. I'm going to say they go edge rusher.
That's a good call.
I think you got to, yeah. I think, we dabbled with that last year in our draft prep. We thought they might go there. I think it's going to be an area of need, and use a premium pick. I'm getting this pass rush going.
I think need
bring Cassius Howell home.
Yeah, need value. I think pass rusher makes, like, edge rusher makes all the sense in the world. I think that's where I would.
Decent class. I think there's better edge rushers than D tackles. So maybe you have a value play at D tackle just because it's not like a run. But I think there's enough rushers that even picking late first round, you could probably find somebody that gives you, at least, I'm not, doesn't have to be this body type, but at least a Karlaftis type of ceiling, and maybe even a little bit of a floor that's like, oh, that guy's at least going to be playable and good, even if it's a different body type than him. I do think it's a pretty deep edge class.
I think there's some good names at the top too. Yeah, like I think where the Chiefs could be picking, that could make a lot of sense. I love bye week shows, man. I like kind of breaking things up a little bit and not having getting to pull out and look a little bit like 30,000 feet and stuff. It's kind of fun. So I enjoyed myself a little bit of a Matter Day bye week episode. That is going to do it for this episode of the KC Laboratory. Thank you all so much for listening, watching, supporting. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll catch you later. LT over.